And turning to ISIS, Canada is now monitoring hundreds of people who have traveled or tried to travel to Syria and are now talking about carrying out attacks from shootings to public beheadings, according to NBC News, here in North America. Meanwhile, the U.S.-led coalition continues to pound ISIS targets near Turkey, the key town of Kobani in Syria. 23 strikes in the last 36 hours alone, but not enough to make a difference, according to those on the ground. NBC's chief foreign correspondent is one of them. Richard Engel is in Turkey, not very far at all from ground zero in the fight against ISIS. Richard, what we're hearing again today in Boston from Secretary Kerry is that Kobani is not a strategic priority for the U.S. coalition. They're basically letting this town fall, and most importantly, Turkey is doing nothing because of the Syrian Kurds, who are the population base there, enemies as far as Erdogan, the leader of Turkey, is concerned. He is more suspicious of the Kurds, I would suspect, than of ISIS.
Well, the situation in Kobani, from the global perspective, might not be the most important city in the world. There are other key cities in Syria, but it has become an important symbol. It is highly visible, and perhaps Secretary Kerry is being a little bit tone deaf to the importance that Kobani has taken on here in this country, on social media. There are cities in Syria that are being attacked by ISIS, but nobody can see them. Everyone can see Kobani. People are watching the city fall almost in real time, and they are watching Turkish troops sitting a few hundred yards away doing nothing. Turkish tanks have their cannons pointed at Kobani, and they're not firing. American airplanes, until very recently, hadn't been doing much. Now, there does seem to be something changing, however, despite Secretary Kerry's statements that, well, Kobani's not that important. Clearly, the message does seem to be sinking in, because, as you mentioned, in the last 36 hours, there have been 23 airstrikes around Kobani. That's more airstrikes than there have been around Kobani in the last 3 weeks. So he might be saying it's not that important, but I think the U.S. is getting the message that this is a very visible and very symbolic target that has a lot of people, particularly in Turkey, incredibly upset. About 21 people have been killed in riots here over the last couple of days because of Kobani, and those and that domestic unrest in Turkey is not over yet. So maybe it's not the only city in Turkey, in Syria, that's under attack by ISIS, but it certainly has an overweighted importance because of its visibility.